Now a Ledbury singer-songwriter whose first single featured the award-winning Soweto Gospel Choir. We love her. She's been our Artist of the Week, our Track of the Week, and played for us at the Worcester Music Festival a few years back. She's performed all over the world, from New York to Miami, as well as Glastonbury, with a Latin dubbed sound system, Sweden, and an international gospel choir and women's prison in the Philippines. I mean, all over the world. International. She is Ruhiya from Ledbury, with her record tracing her Filipino roots, released earlier this year.
Hi Lizzie, it's Ruhiya and I come from Hereford in Worcestershire, and we're celebrating National Album Day. I grew up in Herefordshire, then moved to London for university. After that, spent some time living in Dubai, came back to London, and then during COVID, I moved back to Herefordshire, then to Worcester, and actually, by the time you hear this, I'll be living in Morocco. I would describe my music as a kind of soulful mix of world fusion. I take my influences from many types of music, including jazz, classical, Latin, soul, folk, mantra sounds, and healing music as well. The name of this record is Ginhawa, and that means breath in Visayan, which is my mother's native tongue. It's one of the Filipino languages. I chose the name breath to relate to that exhalation of sound and expression. It's also related to life and spirit. I first got the spark of inspiration for this record because I was exploring my Filipino identity, and in particular the time pre-colonization started to fascinate me because it kind of ties into the whole colonization of the world, and I was interested in the way that Filipinos today often struggle with poverty, including my own family. There are more migrant workers working abroad than living in the Philippines itself. And yet, when you go back to the time pre-colonization, our ancestors were dripping in gold, literally wearing gold from head to toe. There was this very rich culture that was connected across Asia, right through to India, and right across trade routes that went all the way through to Africa. And so there's this whole rich culture pre-colonization, and I think being half British with a bit of Irish and Filipino, it's like a kind of trying to find an understanding of that history and how those two worlds meet and collide. On another level, the songs are also interweaving themes of nature and spirit, also trying to find a harmony between the material, physical world and also the spiritual world. So there's lots of themes of that, themes of dreams as well, woven in there, a lot of Sufi influences as well. In terms of one of the biggest changes between a first idea and then the finished track, I Am That I Am really came to life. Also Babailan I wrote as an a cappella chant. And then Zayn Mohammed, my producer for the album, who also plays music and an array of instruments on the whole album. He really brought it to life with the instrumentation and sounds and really created, a very shamanic, inspired, quite epic soundtrack, both of those tracks. I mean, especially I Am That I Am as well, just really has, it has this Turkish rabab at the beginning, and then this singing and layers of harmonies and chanting, and he also joins in some of those harmonies. It came to life in the studio as we were creating quite an epic sort of instrumentation. In a world of singles, why did I want to create an album? Probably would have been a lot easier to just release loads of singles. I like an album because it tells a story. There's a story of each song, but there's an interweaving and story that happens between all of the songs. For me, that's just a deeper process. Whereas a single, you can just get that recorded in a few days, in a few weeks, and then just release it out, and it's just one song, which is great. But I love the journey of an album, and whether or not that's something people even bother listening to as a whole these days, it doesn't really affect me. I think as an artist, you just have to do what you feel inspired to do and not really care about what the world thinks, because who knows, what the world thinks will change again in 10 years' time. I think the most out there track on the record, probably Babailan. I haven't heard any other track like it. It does put you into another world. I feel like I'm in another space. The combination of the ney and the chants and the percussion, it's a really otherworldly feel about it. And I think that we really captured a kind of ancient Southeast Asian sound in some way. It's still kind of modern and fresh at the same time. It's not like a purely indigenous sound at all, and we would never try to, impersonate that. But I think we did really well to create something that was otherworldly, that evokes the spirit of the Babailan. My album is available to download from my website, which is ruhiya.com. That's RUHIYA. And you can also order a physical copy of the CD. There's only a limited number left, actually, although I hope to print some more soon, and also some vinyl. But there are some CDs, physical CDs, and also unlimited MP3 versions, all available on all the major streaming websites. Yeah, let's play Babailan. Babailan is usually female, but sometimes like a feminine male who is a kind of healer in ancient and indigenous Filipino society. She had quite a powerful role in society prior to colonization. She was kind of like one of the leaders of the community, and she represents that bridge between the material world and the spirit world. And she also represents kind of the ancient feminine power that was demonized and purposefully almost erased during Spanish colonization. And she's just completely in tune with nature and everything. And there's a kind of revival movement worldwide of Filipinos who are inspired by the Babailan. So this is one of my favorite songs on the album. Hi, I'm Ruhiya, and this is Babailan off my new album Ginhawa, here on BBC Introducing. Thanks, Lizzie.
Ruhiya, beautiful music from her, Babalayan. It's so great to hear her talking about her album